Hello everyone, GoldenNova here. We're continuing our Valentine's Month showcase by covering an oft-overlooked theme rooted in one of Yu-Gi-Oh's most iconic relations. Two digital entities who find themselves in a chaotic world, and found a way through their trials using the strength of mutual understanding and teamwork. Today, it's time to talk about Orbital 7, Lilybot, and the Super Defense Robots. Sorry, we've already covered G-Golem and Marincess. This is all I could get on short notice. Break out the drums, because it's time for Super Defense Robots Explained. Today's episode is possible thanks to viewers like you, as well as my patrons. If you like what I do here, I would super appreciate it if you'd subscribe to help us reach another wonderful milestone video. And if you want to support me directly while getting some awesome benefits, check out the link to my Patreon in the description below. So, what's the deal with the Super Defense Robots? Well, they're a trio of Earth machine monsters that all click together to make Big Machine Xyz monsters, specifically of the Rank 8 variety. But before we tackle them, there's a couple of character cards that are loosely associated with them. Orbital 7, Kite Tenjo's bumbling personal assistant, and Lilybot, the litter bot that Orbital develops a crush on. Let's start with Orbital 7, a level 4 light machine monster with 500 attack and 2000 defense, and when this card is flipped face up, place a "You Got It Boss" counter on it. You can remove all "You Got It Boss" counters on this card to make this card's attack become 2000. After you change this card's attack with this effect, it can't attack directly for the rest of the turn and is sent to the grave during the end phase. You can also tribute this card to target a photon or galaxy monster in your grave and add that target to your hand. We'll say this again once we cover all of Kite's cards at 85,000 subscribers. Boy, do we have a ways to go. But if you're familiar with the theme, you'll know that Orbital checks a ton of their usual boxes. Its light attribute fits with their overarching attribute theming, the ability to grow to 2000 attack makes it prime tribute fodder for Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon special summon, as well as being a cheeky nod to Orbital 7's battle form, and of course it also gets you back Photon and Galaxy cards from your graveyard. Basically, everything this card does in conjunction with the Super Defense Robots comes from those monsters, because in a vacuum, Orbital 7 is just an overworked, underappreciated helper droid that, no matter how tough it gets, is always there to help with a delightful "You got it, boss!" Which will be all well and good until Zexal inevitably crosses paths with 5Ds, and Orbital becomes the hive mind general of the Mech Lord, so maybe give him a few vacation days, Kite? Last thing I want to do is get terminated. Lilybot is a level 4 light machine monster with 500 attack and 2000 defense, and when this card is normal summoned or flipped face up, you can target an Orbital 7 in your graveyard and special summon it in face up attack position or face down defense position. And once per turn, you can tribute any number of machine type monsters to special summon an equal number of photon and or galaxy monsters from your hand. Once again, we're leaning into the Kite pile for this one. Summoning back Orbital 7 face up means you can go into some pretty nifty rank 4s, a pool that has specifically gotten better for Galaxy Photons recently, or you can set Orbital face down to set up the counter effect. Then there's the third mode, just tributing Lilybot and Orbital to make way for more on-theme monsters out of your hand. It is easy to justify playing high-leveled monsters when you can just make them leap out of your hand. Though as modern design has evolved, those big monsters have come with easier ways to deploy themselves, which means they don't really need the help as much. Which is all the better because even when first released, no one was playing either of these two cards. Orbital would get another shot at stardom with a Photon retrain, but Lily has yet to get the retrain, which I think is just criminal. What? Because she picks up trash all day, she's not worthy of a redesign? This game is built on trash cards. You printed a monster called Garbage Lord, for crying out loud. Give Lily a chance! Alright, now it's time for the main attraction. But first, a little extra thing about the Super Defense Robots. Whenever they're normal summoned, you can special summon a Super Defense Robot monster or Orbital 7 from your hand. Got it? Good. Super Defense Robot Monkey is a level 3 monster with 800 attack and 1200 defense, and once per turn, you can banish a machine type monster from your graveyard, then target a Super Defense Robot monster or Orbital 7 in your grave and add it to your hand. It's a little rough that you get the special summon from hand on normal summon, but you only get to recycle the monster as an activated effect on field. But you can take that as kind of a sampler. You'll need to get used to the fact that these cards are kind of jank. For maximum effectiveness, you're gonna need to already have a target monster in your hand to work with, and we do have a pretty big one that's gonna need the help. So Monkey either acts as a play starter to turbo cards out of your hand, or helps you to recover cards later on by cashing in your spent machines, which isn't terrible. It may not have the sequence right, but it's still got... oh, I don't know why I bother with the rest of this. You're already typing return to monkey in the comments right now. Have fun, I guess. Super Defense Robot Leo was a level 4 monster with 1200 attack and 1600 defense, and once per turn when exactly one Super Defense Robot monster or Orbital 7 and no other cards are added from your grave to your hand except during the damage step, you can special summon it from your hand. So this is meant to work with Monkey's return from grave effect. So presumably you normal summon Monkey, special summon Leo, then use Monkey's effect to grab a card so as to special summon it. So if you have a stocked up grave already, then you've got a play going on. And thankfully we are not wanting for choice in Earth Machine. I mean, Scrap Recycler is all about stuffing the grave with bodies that you can recycle, it's great. So with that being said, Super Defense Robot is shaping up to be like one of my favorite decks for hire. But you know, if it sucked. Super Defense Robot Elfin is a level 8 monster with 1400 attack and 2500 defense, and once per turn you can target a Super Defense Robot monster or Orbital 7 you control, and it becomes level 8 until the end of the turn. However, this card can't be used as Xyz material for an Xyz summon, except for the Xyz summon of a machine monster. This is the go-to summon off of one of your other Super Defense robots. Normal summon them, bring out Elfin, target that first robot with the level modulation, and boom, you got 2 level 8 materials. Now, there's an intended monster you're expected to summon with this, but despite the machine-only restriction, we actually have some really good targets to go into, but I'll save those for the tech pick section. It's good to finally have a card that ties the whole theme together, and is honestly the only one I would be comfortable calling a Super Defense Robot, and even then, 2500 is barely cutting it. As for the intended boss monster of the theme, it's time to call up one of the strongest monsters ever made, both here and beyond the stars. Come forth, Googly Eyes Drum Dragon, a rank 8 Earth Machine Xyz monster with 3000 attack and 2500 defense, requiring 2 level 8 machine monsters as material. Once per turn, you can attach an Xyz material from this card to boost its attack by 1000 until the end of your opponent's turn, and if this card is destroyed while it has Xyz material, you can banish a Super Defense Robot monster in your grave to special summon this card from your grave. Then, you can attach a Super Defense Robot monster from your grave to this card as Xyz material. So what we're looking at is actually a 4000 attack monster that floats. As long as you have material in your grave and on your dragon, this goofy googly goober will come back over and over and over again. And with such a solid stat line, it actually means something. Though, after only a single time, it's basically a 3k vanilla, so it's not quite as flashy. But still, it sticks around when things get tough, and it's a big chunky dude. They printed Big Chungus as a monster, how could I not love this? Alright, so that's all of these Super Defense Robot cards, but what do we do with them? Well, with a deck that only has one line of play, we don't have much we can expand on. I would say this is another tiny theme that could see play as an engine in another bigger deck, but because the robots only affect each other, it's hard to justify that. So we'll try to cram in as many Earth Machine enablers as possible and see where we go from there. So what can we play to help them out? Before I start going on a big grind about the Infinitrack type attribute combo, what are the rank 8s you can access with this deck? Thankfully, we have a ton of options that blow Googly Eyes Drum Dragon out of the water, as sad as I am to admit. Dingirsu is a big one, giving you free removal and at least 2 instances of destruction protection. Heck, you can opt not to use the removal effect and attach one of your banished Super Defense robots for an additional protect, and recycling. Gigantic Champion Sargus just gets you a free card every turn alongside some incidental removal, though you could also go for Explorer for some more direct, if gimmicky, removal. Speaking of gimmicks, Puppet Fantastics Machinex nabs you a free rank-up magic card. Heck, you can even use Giant Grinder to pop monsters and try to go for damage by bumping off some Xyz. And Gimmick Puppet of Strings is part 1 in a plot to crush your opponent's field. Okay, onto some Earth Machine nonsense. While we don't have any destruction synergy per se, we do still make fantastic usage of Machina Citadel. Drum Dragon actually pairs up pretty well with it. Use its effect to go up to 4000, then fire up Citadel to wipe out your opponent's board. Then, revive Drum Dragon for the cost of a little banishing, and now you have 6000 damage at your fingertips, with probably all of it being direct. and that's not far off lethal with a Machina Fortress waiting in the wings. Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede is a quick way to get an Alphen out of the graveyard, with an effect that will make them both either level 4 or 8 to pivot to utility Xyz or big boss monsters. Dara Crane is free material that doesn't line up with our Xyz summons very cleanly, but does make for good link material. Same with Super Express Bullet Train if you want something to recycle your cards. If we don't have what it takes to make a big rank 8, sacrifice one of your defense robots for a Brutal Dozer to start an Infinitrack combo that ends in River Stormer, nabbing you any Earth machine you could ever want. And as long as we're talking about Xyz monsters that get you things, Gear Gigant X gets us either Monkey or Leo to help us out with our more involved combos later on if we end up with 2 level 4 monsters. Clockwork Knight is also a pretty neat pickup. While a 500 attack boost isn't going to make any of our main deck monsters a real threat, it does also weaken our opponents, as well as messing with any type-reliant synergies that they have. It also makes Drum Dragon that much more effective in combat, and I mean, an Earth Machine Rotor with extra steps, still pretty good. I also can't overlook how wacky Ancient Gear Ballista is as a Link 2 option, in case we open up with 2 Monkey and or Leos but no Elfin. It can grab Ancient Gear Box, and while it doesn't line up with our robots, it does search out a number of other Earth Machine support cards, which is pretty key. Alternatively, we get to play a bunch of Ancient Gear stuff off the back of things like Gear Town, popping it with Ballista, and getting a free level 8 monster in the form of Gadgetron Dragon. As for a silly tech pick, as long as we have a deck full of a bunch of goofy little guys, we might as well go all in. Desk bots are tempting, but don't really interact with the robots in any meaningful way. However, when you have a combo line that puts 2 level 8 monsters on board, then I've gotta give it up for the Calculator! 2 level 8s means you've got a 4800 attack boost, so combined with its own levels, you've got yourself a 5400 attack normal summon. Then, if you want to go Drum Dragon during your main phase 2, you can do that. This does leave you with a dinky little calculator, but if you deal enough damage, your opponent may not want to put a monster in attack position, leaving them open for a devastating counterattack that could close out the game. Oh, and because we have machines with big attacks, I guess limiter removal is good here. You boost Drum Dragon first, then hit it with the remover. Now, you've got an 8,000 attack beatstick waiting to one-shot your opponent. Imagine winning a game because you hit your opponent with lethal damage out of nowhere with the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon parody monster. I don't think they'll ever play Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. And that's all I've got to say about Super Defense Robots. It's another in a long line of tiny themes dotted across the game's release, so it's not particularly noteworthy. Some random anime cards will shape the game for years upon years, and others, well, they get shown off for a single episode about a heartsick robot just so that we can show off that Drum Dragon has a big slime breath weapon for its attack. Still, I hope you enjoyed this little overview of one of the game's little slices of tomfoolery, mostly because we have a lot of these things to go through. You could say there are a lot of zexal archetypes that are in the same orbit as this one. But now, I want to hear what you all have to say. Do Super Defense Robots have some secret synergy that makes them a sleeper tech pick, or do we need to put these tiny Tinker toys in the trash compactor? And which one's your favorite? I gotta go with Monkey. The Mandrill Pauldrons are pretty stylish. Let me know your favorite down below, and if you haven't already, please be sure to like the video if you liked it, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Be sure to check out one of my other videos in the suggested feed to help me show up in your home page, and be sure to share this video with somebody you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales that even come with their own lore, and save 5% on your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Upstairs Media, and the Critic of Innocence, Nebula Navigator's 3rd Dynasty, 50 Gigabytes, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Kane Senpai, Charlie Mercury, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Copperbottom, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Green Knight, Great Big Pillock, Hair Bear, Happy Majin, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Marion James E. Picata, Mike Cook, Millennia Asta, Muse Clark, Neon Yami Nair, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Bactboos, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Sonic 21 Blast, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders ally Vaitnia, Animasta, Anthorak, Baron von Titty Sprinkles, Beelzebub, Fish, Beluga Masta, Blitzwolf, Charlie Mercury, again, Chaz Ghost, Dr. Entity RIP, Eva Padilla, Gary Lickbread, Hike Boyagian, Herbal D, Inblink, Kale the Dragon, Lobomaru02, Manga Pages, Natiel Lee Alexander, Nitromo, Not Al Gore, Nyx, Obsidian, Pombo, Rain, Rhyme Kairos, Shizuka Nijimura, Cernite JCB, Sophie, apparently, Sphilia, Stephen Williamson, The Legendary Raven, The Phantom Knights of Shitted Pants, The Gene, Tiger X2476, Weasel King of Weaseltown and Zal Jareka, as well as all the lovely Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member. And if you'd like to see what a tiny group of adorable machines are actually capable of, check out this video where I cover Deskbots. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.